I'm here at a sports bar called The Draft in Concord, New Hampshire, where former Speaker of the House Newt Gingrich took time out of what is the busiest day in New Hampshire's political season to watch a football game with his campaign managers and staff. But not just any football game, the national championship between #1 LSU and #2 Alabama. Now, Newt's not saying exactly who he'll be cheering for tonight, but on the eve of the New Hampshire primary, odds are that he has himself in mind to finish big tomorrow and to carry on strong into South Carolina. After an extremely long day here at Gillette Stadium, the first round has come to an end. Of course, it now starts at 8 p.m. to try and garnish those late night audiences, and well, it was filled with surprises. The Patriots, usually a team known for trading down, trade up twice, grabbing Chandler Jones with the 21st pick and Dante Hightower with the 25th. It's something Bill Belichick usually doesn't do, but this season may be something different. Inside Gillette Stadium, I'm Liam Ariel. All right, well, our big story from this weekend is the financial state of Greece. The Greek parliament passed a $170 billion austerity plan to prevent the country from defaulting on its debts. However, by accepting this bailout money from the European Union and the IMF, Greece agreed to cut over 150,000 jobs and reduce the minimum wage by 22%. Well, as you can imagine, this news didn't sit well with most Greek citizens. The luscious Mediterranean paradise turned ugly as over 100,000 protesters took to the streets, burning more than a dozen buildings throughout Athens. Police forces began lobbing tear gas at protesters who attacked them with firebombs and chunks of marble they had broken off the fronts of luxury hotels and department stores. Greek Prime Minister Lucas Papandimos said, and I quote, "At these crucial times, we cannot have the luxury of this type of protest. I think everyone is aware just how serious this situation is." To other news now, federal agents are questioning a passenger at Logan Airport after he reportedly left bomb materials in a rental car in a New Jersey airport. The passenger boarded a United Airlines flight at Newark International Airport and left the items in his rental vehicle, which were believed to be related to explosives. The passenger has been identified as a salesperson for the Bedford-based iRobot and claims that the items in question were used for training demonstrations. Authorities are continuing their investigation. However, iRobot sent Fox 25 this statement just a short time ago. Today, an iRobot employee left in his car a piece of luggage which contained a replica device used during an explosive ordnance disposal training and simulation at Poughkeepsie Arsenal in Rockaway, New Jersey. Well, the device is not real and at no time was dangerous or a threat in any way. iRobot regrets the error and appreciates the efforts of all public safety professionals involved. And we had some wild weather over the weekend, the last 2 weeks or so. Tough humidity and heat with some violent storms, but today, Sarah, it was a really nice one.
Hi, how are you? Is this your place? Oh, that's great. Where is it? Oh, right there, Simon the Tanner. You got it all. Wow, look at that. Welcome, Mitt Romney. You're very kind.
I'm here in Lancaster, New Hampshire, where Mitt Romney will be making the first of many campaign stops in northern New Hampshire. Now, while most candidates are focusing on Iowa, the former Massachusetts governor has taken time to stop at the top of the Granite State.
I'm proud of this country. I'm proud of the people here in the North Country for getting up and seeing a politician on a day like this. You're kind to be here. And keep your eyes open here. Oh, I like these jackets. And
up in the North Country, we get a few of them that come through once in a while, but to actually stop here is really neat.
Yeah, Romney's my man. He's going to make it.
Look at this. Look at this. Whoa, I missed the good stuff. Look at this, Ann.
Well, I'm very partial to governors for president. I think the experience you get in running a state is very important. I also am extremely pleased at his private sector experience. He knows how to make a decision. He knows how to solve problems, and with the mess we have in Washington, that's what we need.
You guys, thank you. Appreciate the chance to be together. We want to make sure and shake hands with everybody here because, just as I was told, unless you shake our hands, you won't vote for us. So I'm going to shake your hand. If you want to get a picture, we'll do that too. Thanks so much. Great to be with you. We look forward to bringing more good jobs to the people of the North Country. Thank you.
Boston is a museum. You know, the place is, in a sense, it's like a time capsule. You're surrounded by history, you have to walk through it.
An accomplished photographer and an art professor at all three of Boston's major art schools, Matthew Gamber may know more about Boston's art scene than almost anyone.
The Boston art scene is, I think it's vibrant.
For some artists, however, that vibrant art scene is miles away, both literally and figuratively.
My name is Sid Caesar. I'm a fine art and commercial photographer here in Nashua, New Hampshire. Boston sort of serves as that next step. As an exhibiting artist or as a fine artist or anything, really what you want to do is get out of your small town, and Boston is the first big place that you want to go.
For many young artists like Sid, the only thing separating them from their dreams is finding the right gallery owner.
My name is Ariel, and I run Gallery Caiaphas, which is a photography gallery here in the South End, and I show mostly emerging artists.
Even for the gallery owners at the heart of Boston's art scene, it's a constant struggle to fight off bigger fish.
It's not unusual for us to represent an artist who also is shown by a New York gallery. It's just the nature of the business. We're right next door. People would rather say that they bought from a gallery in New York. There's this air of sophistication and there's this cachet of having bought in New York.
Whether Boston's art scene is a launching pad, a pipe dream, or a profession, one thought remains the same.
The bottom line is it's a business and you have to pay the rent.
For Emerson College, I'm Liam Ariel.
Woo! Come on. Bring 'em out, bring 'em out. Hey! Bring 'em out, bring 'em out. Bring 'em out, bring 'em out. Hey!
All right, boys and girls, so let's talk about that urge you get every weekend. No, I'm not talking about going to Alston. I'm talking about food, of course. Now, we know about New York pizza and Maria's Taqueria, but say it's 3 a.m. and you are craving a cannoli, or you really are in dire need of a fudge brownie. Well, Bova's Bakery in the North End has you covered 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Thanks, guys. We start today's news segment in the Middle East. Iran has halted the sale of oil to the United Kingdom and France following the tightening of European Union sanctions on the oil-rich nation. Iran currently holds 10% of the world's oil and 15% of its natural gas resources. But what effect does this possible oil embargo have on the United States, you say? Well, as you probably realize the next time you go to fill up, gas is at a record high, with a national average around $3.53 a gallon. Now, some economic experts are expecting that the gallon of gas price might reach $4.25 by mid-April, which is just before the peak driving season of midsummer, where prices are expected to be even higher. This could have a negative effect on the recent economic growth we've experienced over the past 2 months. But what does this mean for Emerson College students? Well, as we know, living in Boston, Emerson students don't deal with gas on a daily basis. But if you're planning on going home for the summer or over break, you might want to put some money aside to make sure you can get to where you're trying to go.
The Cutler Majestic, one of the oldest theaters in Boston, underwent a $10 million renovation just a few years ago. We go now live to Liam Ariel, who has more on the historic building. Liam, how have these renovations helped build Boston's now prestigious theater district?
Well, Terry, I'm standing here on LaGrange Street, which less than a quarter century ago was a hotbed for strip clubs and adult movie theaters. Today, it's part of New England's most beautiful theater district, with a large portion of that due to the building you see behind me, the Cutler Majestic. We got a chance to catch up with Cutler Majestic director Lance Olson, who has a little bit of history on this historic theater.
I'm Lance Olson. I manage the Cutler Majestic Theater at Emerson College. We made a decision to restore this theater when we first bought it in 1983. At that time, the theater was not in excellent condition, so that in order to use it for our students, we needed to put some money into it. We decided to do that in phases over time, starting in 1983. So we reopened it a few years later, and we kept adding pieces and improving pieces. This last phase, it includes all new seats, it includes all new services. It's a far better theater mechanically and a far easier theater to use. Mostly we worked on the things that were invisible that really made the building and the performances better. But in the last year we've been closed and we focused on finishing it all off. Now it looks beautiful, it works like a brand new building, and it still has the history and the love of 100 years.
Almost 20 years after it was first purchased, the Cutler Majestic has helped Boston revitalize this part of downtown. From the theaters of the Modern Theater, which is owned under the auspices of Suffolk University, to the Paramount Center, which has not one, but 3 active theaters. It's clear that this revitalization wouldn't have been possible if Emerson College and the Cutler Majestic hadn't teamed up to help rebuild this part of Boston. In fact, the Cutler Majestic turned 109 just last week, so it looks like this theater won't be going anywhere anytime soon. Back to you in the studio, Terry.
Now, for the second time in 2 weeks, a car smashes into the same house in Mattapan. The driver says that she was driving on River Street when she lost control and somehow backed up into the house. We're told that the driver had her 2 children in the car with her at the time of the crash, and an ambulance was called to the scene. However, luckily, no one had to be transported to the hospital. The accident remains under investigation, and so far, no charges have been filed. Tackling EEE, health officials as we speak are urging people in 21 southeastern Massachusetts communities to take precaution during Ariel mosquito spraying slated to start in just about an hour from now. Fox 25's Taisha Fernandez is live at the Plymouth airport where the planes took off from. Ty?